Hello everyone. In this video, I'll start by summarizing Arcane, and at the end, I'll share my thoughts on the story and characters, along with a critique of the storyline. Arcane is an animated series that dives into the lives of two sisters, Vi and Powder, against the backdrop of a divided world. Arcane begins with two main characters, Vi and Powder, navigating a battlefield in Zaun, where their parents have been murdered. Vi guides her younger sister Powder through the aftermath of a battle. They see Vander, a towering hero with cast iron gloves, mercilessly attacking an enforcer, and they see their parents' bodies. Upon noticing the crying children, Vander discards his gloves and he picks the two girls up, taking them back to their home in the Undercity of Zaun. As they depart, Vi casts one last glance at the seemingly utopian Piltover and its enforcers, the guardians responsible for her parents' deaths. Cutting forward several years, Vi and Powder are on a heist with Clagger and Milo, their adoptive brothers, into Piltover. They precariously navigate the rooftops to evade the enforcers patrolling the streets below. Although Powder is frightened, she follows Vi's lead with encouragement. They finally arrive at their target, a penthouse filled with scientific treasures which we later learn belongs to Jace. They swiftly pack their bags with anything of value. In a back room, Powder discovers a chest full of small, glowing crystals. Just as they hear footsteps at the front door, they scramble to escape. In her rush, Powder stuffs her bag with the orbs, but accidentally drops one. The impact triggers an explosion, severely damaging the building, which blows up a large chunk of the building and alerting the enforcers to their presence. The children flee through a sewage pipe, but on their way back to the Undercity, they encounter Deckard and his small gang, who try to take the stolen items for themselves. Vi, Milo, and Clagger fight them off while Powder escapes. One of the thugs pursues her. When she finds herself cornered, she activates one of her homemade weapons, but it malfunctions. With no other choice, she tosses their stolen scientific treasures into the river and runs off. If the story has intrigued you so far, please like this video. Thank you. As they make their way back to the Undercity, Milo expresses his frustration towards Powder for losing their loot. He accuses her of causing trouble on every job they pull together, claiming she jinxes their plans. Once they arrive in Zaun, they go to Vander's bar, where he both serves drinks and leads the Undercity, known as the Lanes. In a private room, they are admonished by Vander for the explosion they caused. But he is calmed down when Vi informs him that they came away empty-handed. He then inquires about the source of their tip for the job, to which Powder reveals it came from a small man at Benzo's shop. When Vander went outside, Powder found the crystals hidden in her bag and returned to the room to tell Vi about them, unaware that these crystals had caused the explosion. However, she didn't enter the room because she realized that Milo and Vi were talking about her. So, she stood quietly behind the door, listening. Milo told Vi that this had been their best heist yet, and that they had stolen a lot of valuable things. But Powder ruined it all by throwing everything into the river and added that Powder always messes things up. Vi confirmed Milo's remarks, agreeing that Powder is weak in carrying out such tasks. Meanwhile, Powder, who had been quietly listening to their conversation, felt upset and left. Clagger asks Echo, known as Little Man, how he discovered the penthouse they robbed. Echo explains that a wealthy topsider came into the shop looking for supplies, so he followed the man back to his home. When the enforcers arrive, Clagger flees, but Echo watches as they meet with Vander. The younger enforcer, Marcus, demands to know the identities of those responsible for the recent explosion in Piltover, but the older enforcer, Grayson, suggests he should take a walk. Vander and Grayson then have a frank discussion. She informs him that the targeted home belonged to a significant family, and the council will need to make an example of someone. Vander scoffs, saying people need to feel safe. Grayson replies, "Yeah, safe for topside people. We had a deal." Grayson tells Vander, "As long as you keep your people off my streets, I won't interfere in your matters." Echo is shocked to see Vander cooperating with the enforcers. Vander says, "I'm sorry, Grayson, but I can't offer up my own people." Piltover's sheriff, Grayson, makes it clear that she and her enforcer Marcus will have to keep returning. She leaves Vander with a means of contact in case he has a change of heart, while a young boy named Echo overhears their entire conversation. In their bedroom, Vi discovers Powder feeling down about her perceived inadequacy compared to the others. To lift her spirits, Vi takes her to a high vantage point for a nostalgic view of their gang's past misadventures. She points out the gutter where Clagger once got his foot stuck while fleeing from the enforcers. "We've all had tough days," Vi reassures her, "but we learn and stick together." Before they head home, Powder reveals that she managed to keep some of the glowing crystals from the penthouse, although neither of them knows their true nature. They decide to keep the crystals hidden for the time being as a secret. Meanwhile, Deckard is being questioned by the man who instructed him to follow the children. His superior, a man with severe scars named Silco, is pleased to learn that the children were responsible for the explosion, indicating that their adoptive father, Vander, is in danger. He informs his associates that their timeline has been accelerated and requests to see their latest experiment. They feed a strange purple fluid called Shimmer to a mouse, causing the small creature to mutate rapidly. With its newfound size and strength, the mouse swiftly kills and devours a cat. The scarred man then decides it's time to experiment with the fluid on a human, selecting Deckard as the first subject. The next episode begins with the failed heist, but this time from Jace's perspective. He arrives at his apartment with his girlfriend, Caitlin, and soon after, the explosion occurs. Later, Jace dreams of a childhood memory when a mage saved him and his mother, igniting his lifelong fascination with magic, the very essence of the crystals. In the present, Jace is questioned by Grayson as the enforcers investigate the explosion. During the search, they find several restricted items in his home. He is also questioned by Victor, the Academy Dean's assistant, before ultimately being arrested. While in custody, Jace receives a visit from Piltover counselor Heimerdinger. Jace explains his efforts to harness magic, but Heimerdinger advises him to avoid mentioning this at his upcoming trial. Meanwhile, Jace's patrons, the Kiraman family, discuss whether they should vouch for him. Their daughter Caitlin, who is also Jace's friend, insists they should. She argues that the explosion wasn't his fault. Her mother agrees with her. Later, Jace Talus faces the council, charged with illegal experimentation and endangering Piltover's citizens. Initially, he admits to his mistakes, but as the accusations intensify, his frustration boils over and he bursts out, "I was trying to create magic!" While most council members react with shock or disbelief, Victor watches with a spark of interest. If you're enjoying these Arcane recaps, don't forget to like this video. It really helps out. Thank you. The council argues that the Arcane is a natural gift, accessible only to those born with it, not something science can replicate. Jace counters passionately, asserting they're mistaken, that science can indeed harness the Arcane and use it for good, just as he witnessed in his youth. "This is the city of progress," Jace insists. "Imagine the marvels we could achieve." However, Heimerdinger objects, raising his voice as he recounts a time only he's lived long enough to remember. A time when this kind of power brought corruption, devastation, and the collapse of entire civilizations. Jace's mother then steps forward, admitting her son acted recklessly and unwisely, but pleads for the council's forgiveness. After deliberation, the council votes to expel Jace from the academy. Seeking comfort, Jace goes to the Kiraman family home, but his friend Caitlin informs him that her parents refused to see him. His reputation is now tarnished. Marcus leads a squad of enforcers into the Undercity, where they spot Vi and her crew, prompting the children to flee. With Echo's help, they manage to slip away. The enforcers' interference stirs division among the citizens of the underground. Vander urges everyone to stay calm, believing the Topsiders' zeal will soon die down. Others, led by Savika, argue for retaliation. Frustrated by Vander's reluctance to act, Vi questions why they aren't defending themselves. Noticing Echo's unease, she presses him until he reveals the truth. Vander has a secret arrangement with the enforcers, and he isn't the only one in the underground making deals with the topsiders. In the lanes, Silco arranges a meeting with Marcus, offering his help in tracking down the 4 children who have been outsmarting the enforcers. Later, Silco encourages Deckard to consume a mysterious purple substance known as Shimmer. As Deckard drinks it, he screams in agony while his eyes glow and vivid purple veins spread across his body. Marcus, tipped off by Silco, arrives at Vander's bar with a group of enforcers. Sensing trouble, Vander warns Vi and the others to hide quickly, though one enforcer nearly spots Powder. Once the enforcers finally leave, Vi insists they can't keep hiding forever. She argues it's time to fight back since luck won't always be on their side. Vander, hoping to dissuade her, takes her to the bridge where her parents died, the very place he led the charge that resulted in their deaths. In a scene, Jace stands at the edge of his ruined penthouse, contemplating suicide. Just then, Victor arrives and expresses his interest in Jace's research on magic, sharing that he understands the pain of being disbelieved. He offers to assist Jace in continuing his research. Vi reminds Powder to always cherish the qualities that set her apart, as they are what make her stronger. Meanwhile, Grayson receives a small device, the one she had given to Vander as a means of communication in case he decided to turn someone in for the explosion at the penthouse. However, it wasn't Vander who sent it. It is Vi who is volunteering to take the blame as the sole scapegoat. The 3rd episode opens with a flashback revealing how Silco got his scars, nearly drowning in Zaun's heavily polluted river. He recalls the primal instinct that kicked in, helping him survive. In the present, Vi awaits the enforcers, expecting to be captured, but Vander arrives instead. He locks her in a basement to protect her and decides to surrender himself. Grayson is reluctant to arrest Vander, but ultimately agrees. However, as they attempt to escort him, Silco and his gang, now strengthened by Shimmer, launch an ambush on the enforcers. Grayson and several others are killed in the assault, and Marcus, shocked, confronts Silco about going beyond their agreement. Silco bribes Marcus to keep him silent, while Vander is knocked out and taken away, with Vi watching helplessly through a window. In Piltover, Jace and Victor succeed in stabilizing the crystals. To prevent Jace's previous research from being destroyed, they need to present their breakthrough to the Council. To do this, they sneak into Heimerdinger's lab to stabilize one of the crystals, but are caught by Counselor Mel Medarda. Mel, however, allows them to proceed with their experiment. The test is a success, and Jace names his invention hextech. Meanwhile, Echo finds Vi in the basement and helps her escape, revealing that he also witnessed what happened between Vander and Silco. Vi returns to the last drop to rally Milo and Clagger to help rescue Vander. She instructs Powder to stay behind, giving her a flare and promising to always come if Powder uses it. Once Vi, Milo, and Clagger leave, Powder realizes that the crystals were responsible for the earlier explosions and decides to set out on her own to aid in Vander's rescue. Silco takes Vander to a Shimmer factory, where they clash over the idea of Zaun breaking free from Piltover. During their heated exchange, it's revealed that Vander had once attempted to drown Silco in the river. As Vi and her friends arrive to rescue Vander, Powder unexpectedly sets off the crystals amidst the chaos. The resulting explosion kills Milo and Clagger and injures nearly everyone else. Vander tries to help Vi escape, but is ultimately killed in the battle. After escaping, Vi finds Powder, who excitedly reveals that she caused the explosion. Enraged, Vi hits Powder, calling her a Jinx before abandoning her. Left alone and scared, Powder is discovered by Silco. Upon hearing how she feels betrayed, he reassures her, vowing that together they will show them all. The next 6 episodes occur after a time skip of several years. Jace has become a celebrated figure in Piltover, known for his scientific achievements. On Piltover's Progress Day, he is set to deliver a speech, but during the event, a now-adult Powder, who goes by the name Jinx, attacks his lab, stealing his latest invention, the hextech gem. In Zaun, the last drop is now under Silco's control. Although initially prepared to reprimand Jinx for the bold attack in Piltover, Silco is quickly swayed when Jinx proudly presents the hextech gem she's stolen. Jace is elevated to the role of counselor to give him the authority needed to safeguard his inventions. Returning home, he meets Caitlin, who has now become an enforcer. Determined to uncover the truth behind the hextech gem theft, Caitlin traces it to a series of crimes in Zaun. Jace discloses to her that her parents had her removed from duty, fearing the danger. Caitlin proceeds to question a prisoner who witnessed one of Jinx's previous crimes, only to find he was hospitalized after an attack by another inmate. She decides to speak with his attacker, Vi. After a tense conversation, Vi reluctantly agrees to help Caitlin, informing her that she's hunting for Silco. Vi also recognizes markings at the crime scene, realizing they're the work of her sister, Powder, now known as Jinx. Jace grapples with his responsibilities as a counselor while supporting Marcus in his investigation into the theft of the hextech gem. During one of their meetings, Victor has a sudden vision and becomes inspired to work on a new project. With Mel's guidance, Jace begins to secure his influence within the council, leading to the two spending the night together. Meanwhile, Victor works tirelessly on his new invention, the hex core. After struggling with it, he has a severe coughing fit, passing out as his blood makes contact with the hex core. Vi and Caitlin venture into Zaun to start their investigation. Following a lead, they visit a brothel where Vi learns from the owner about changes in Zaun since her arrest. She asks about Powder, but the owner has no information on her whereabouts. However, she does direct Vi to Savika, Silco's right hand. In a fierce battle with Savika, Vi discovers that Powder is alive and has become Jinx, working under Silco's command. Jinx arrives at the last drop, finding it empty. The bartender informs her that everyone has gone to capture two girls, but he doesn't reveal that one of them is Vi. Curious, Jinx hides in Silco's office, where she ambushes Savika and forces her to reveal that Vi has returned and is working with an enforcer. Leaving Savika tied up in Silco's office, Jinx slips away. Meanwhile, in Piltover, Silco threatens Marcus's family, pressuring him to prevent Vi and Caitlin from re-entering the city. Victor continues his work on the hex core, but fails to transmute a plant, prompting him to seek further assistance from Singed. In a flashback, young Victor is shown returning to Singed and discovering him experimenting on the mutated lizard. Shocked, Victor hears Singed's explanation that the mutation must endure to survive. In the present, Victor tells Singed that he finally understands what he meant. Eager to make progress with the hextech gem, Silco pressures Jinx to continue her work. Struggling with guilt and haunted by flashbacks of what happened with Vander, Jinx suggests passing the project to Singed. Silco takes her to the river where Vander once tried to drown him and recounts how he was reborn there. He urges her to let go of her old self, Powder, assuring her that no one will betray her again. Calling her perfect as she is, he pushes her into the river. Empowered by this moment, Jinx returns to work on the hextech gem with renewed confidence. Later, Savika informs Silco that Vi has returned to Zaun. A flashback reveals a young Victor playing with a toy boat by the river, while other children swim. His boat drifts into a cave, where he follows it and meets Singed, who is caring for a mutated lizard. Singed explains that the lizard is sick, and Victor offers to help. In the present, Victor faces a terminal diagnosis and turns to the hex core in a desperate attempt to heal himself. Jace receives fabricated evidence from Marcus suggesting that the Firelights, a rival faction in Zaun, are responsible for the hextech gem theft. Acting on this, Jace orders a lockdown between Piltover and Zaun. When Heimerdinger opposes these extreme measures, Jace pushes for his removal from the council, and Heimerdinger is ultimately voted out. Meanwhile, Vi and Caitlin are ambushed by Silco, but narrowly escape by knocking down a water tower. During the escape, Vi notices the flare she had given Powder and heads toward it. Reuniting with Jinx, the sisters embrace, but the moment is shattered when Caitlin arrives. Furious at seeing Vi with an enforcer, Jinx becomes hostile. Before Vi can calm either Caitlin or Jinx, they are ambushed by the Firelights. The attackers knock out Caitlin and Vi, taking them along with the hextech gem. Upon waking, Vi finds herself being interrogated by the leader of the Firelights, who reveals himself to be Echo. He explains that they believed she was dead, and questions her loyalty. Winning his trust, Vi frees herself, and the two share an emotional embrace. Echo takes Vi on a tour of the Firelight's village, built around a grand tree with a memorial dedicated to Vi, Powder, Milo, Clagger, and Vander. Echo warns Vi that Jinx may be beyond saving, but Vi remains convinced that Powder is still inside her sister. Ultimately, Vi, Echo, and Caitlyn agree to take the hextech gem to the Piltover Council and disclose everything they know about Silco's plans. Meanwhile, Victor, armed with insights from Singed, attempts to return to Piltover but finds the path blocked. Distraught, he learns that Jace is responsible for the blockade. To protect his secrecy, Victor tells Jace he found no help for his research. Together with Mel, they examine the evidence Marcus provided, concluding that factions in Zaun may be weaponizing hextech. While Jace and Mel want to create hextech weapons in response, Victor opposes the idea. After a heated debate, Victor injects himself with Shimmer, as Singed recommended, and cries out in agony as the Shimmer and Hex core begin to merge with his blood. Jinx confronts Silco for lying to her about Vi's death and decides to leave after Silco justifies it as being for her own good. Meanwhile, Echo and Caitlyn are intercepted by Marcus at the bridge to Piltover. Caitlyn informs Marcus that she has proof Silco orchestrated the theft and shows him the recovered hextech gem. Fearing exposure, Marcus shoots Echo and attempts to shoot Caitlyn. Just as things escalate, a group of Firelights arrives and attacks the blockade. It turns out the Firelights are actually mechs created by Jinx. Jinx arrives soon after with her mechs, kills an enforcer, and retrieves the hextech gem after Marcus is killed in the chaos. As she prepares to leave, she spots Vi fleeing with Caitlyn and mistakenly thinks Vi is betraying her. Before Jinx can strike, Echo reappears, takes the hextech gem from her, and hands it to Vi and Caitlyn. Echo stays behind to fight Jinx, and during their battle, Jinx detonates a grenade, trapping both of them in the explosion. Vi and Caitlyn head to Caitlyn's parents' house, where they discover that the hextech gem is missing from its container. They explain the situation to Caitlyn's parents, who agree to help by arranging a meeting with the council. Meanwhile, Silco finds Jinx's body at the bridge and takes her to Singed, begging him to save her. Singed administers Shimmer, which induces hallucinations of Jinx's sister. After some time, Jinx wakes up, and Singed assures Silco that he saved her life. The Piltover Council gathers to hear Vi and Caitlyn's case against Silco. While the council members believe their claims and wish to resolve the situation, they are determined to pursue a peaceful solution. Vi and Jace, however, both argue that peace is no longer possible. The council ultimately removes Vi from the meeting, and she warns Caitlyn not to follow her. Victor, following his experiment with Shimmer and the Hex core, now has a mechanical leg replacing his damaged one. He returns to his lab to continue his research, but accidentally kills his lab assistant in the process. Vi tracks down Jace and convinces him to help her take the fight to Silco. Jace creates a hextech weapon, and together they set out to attack a Shimmer factory. They quickly take down the Shimmer-enhanced guards, but in the chaos of the battle, they accidentally shoot a child. Back at home, Caitlyn is showering, unable to stop thinking about Vi. When she steps out of the shower, she notices her mirror fogged up with a drawing on it. Just then, Jinx appears behind her. After the death of the child, Jace refuses to continue helping Vi, and the two part ways. Vi decides to take on Silco alone, while Jace meets with Silco to propose a peace offer. Jace suggests that in exchange for peace and an independent Zaun, Silco must turn over Jinx. Meanwhile, Vi returns to the last drop and faces off with Savika using hextech weapons. After a lengthy battle, Vi finds the strength to defeat Savika. Just as the fight ends, Jinx appears behind Vi and knocks her out. Jace presents Silco's terms to the council, sparking intense debate over the issue of Zaun's independence. Jace, along with Victor, argues for the peace measure, but only receives support from Mel. Vi wakes up in the old Shimmer factory where Vander died, sitting at a dinner table. Jinx lights candles, revealing dolls for Milo and Clagger. At the opposite end of the table, she unveils a tied-up Silco, then brings in Caitlyn. Jinx tells Vi she must choose where to sit, pointing to two chairs labeled Powder and Jinx. She offers Vi a choice. If she kills Caitlyn, she can have Powder back. Vi refuses, suggesting they leave everything behind together. Silco interrupts, saying Vi is lying and that he's the only one who has Jinx's best interests at heart. In the midst of the tension, Caitlyn breaks free and points a gun at Jinx, who feigns surrender. However, using the speed enhanced by Shimmer, Jinx disarms Caitlyn. Vi pleads with Jinx to remember who she is, talking about their lost family members. This sends Jinx into a breakdown. As the situation escalates, Silco breaks free and aims his gun at Vi, but Jinx shoots him first, preventing him from harming her. Jinx is immediately filled with remorse after killing Silco, whose final words are that she's perfect. Vi reassures Jinx, telling her everything will be okay, but Jinx moves to the chair labeled Jinx. She declares that she and Vi are too different to ever love each other again, and with the hextech gem in hand, she leaves the table. Meanwhile, the council votes in favor of Jace's peace agreement with Silco. As this happens, Jinx loads the hextech gem into a missile launcher. She fires the missile towards Piltover. Vi and Caitlyn watch as the missile flies toward the city, and just as the final yes votes come in for the peace agreement, the missile crashes through the window at the council meeting, interrupting the proceedings. My opinion about this: Arcane excels in blending stunning animation with layered themes. Zaun's gritty streets contrast beautifully with Piltover's shimmering towers, symbolizing the tension between the two worlds. Vi is a tough, determined older sister who takes the lead and looks after Powder. Powder, while resourceful, is haunted by feelings of inadequacy. This insecurity and desire to prove herself lay the foundation for her tragic arc. Vander's complex relationship with the Enforcers, particularly Grayson, reveals the delicate balance of power in Zaun's underworld. And then there's the ominous Silco, whose experimentation with Shimmer hints at the brewing conflict. It lays a strong foundation for a story that's as much about human emotions and relationships as it is about magic and power.